The thing that bothers me is that when I do these types of videos, I'm going to get people that say I have internalized racism, I'm bigoted, I'm anti-black, and I want to see black people fail. All these weird buzzword catchphrases that people just throw at the wall and hope that they stick, and that they hope hurts me deep inside when I'm actually pointing out a flaw in the black community. No one knows how to address that. They just know how to bitch and moan that somebody's pointing out a flaw. I'll sometimes get people who ask, why do you speak so negatively? Why don't you speak positively? Why don't you put more time into positive things? You don't have to be so negative. And I'm sorry you live in the false reality where you think the only thing plaguing a black person is a white guy, but I'm here to point out black people can do harm. Black people have done harm. Black people have, can, and do harm to other black people. You can deny it. You can call it a conservative talking point. You can think it's something that people just prop out as some right-wing propaganda to denounce Black Lives Matter, but it's true whether you want to believe it or not. Just because it isn't national news and the only two black names you could think of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor doesn't negate the fact that there are black people who are losing their lives at the hands of other black people. Why is it Wednesday, April 20th, about 3:50 p.m. I have to see a video of a man getting out of his car and getting shot in the back of his head by a black man? And not just that, I'm watching people who are around walk completely past the dead body and then pickpocket him as if he's still there just laying on the ground casually. That is what people do. That is what pieces of shit do. And guess what? All the people in that video, whether you want to deny it or not, whether you want to have some weird falsehood about it, whether if you want to say, oh, it's the plight of the black people living in white America and they don't have enough, so they must rob somebody in order to get something in their life, those people in that video are black. And an honest person, no matter if you're black, white, Mexican, man, woman, child, trans, gay, whatever, would look at that and say, damn, I hope that person is caught. I hope we get justice for this man. I hope we all see that this is a problem that needs to be addressed. No, you got dumbasses who get mad when you post something like that and say, hey, why don't we see any videos of white people getting shot? That's something that we really don't see, but we're always seeing something that pertains to a black person being shot. And of all the dumb takes to have, that takes the cake. You mean to tell me it's more important for your mental state and capacity to seeing someone getting shot and not sitting there and saying, I hope whoever did that catches the punishment and the wrath of God. It's always me when it comes to somebody else facing the worst type of punishment, which is losing their life unjustly. And that's the state of some instances in the black community. It's not everybody. It's not something that happens every day. But if you're going to do a one-to-one comparison, there's more instances of us not hearing about a black person doing in a black person as it pertains to us always finding out about a white cop shooting a black person. And it's always something that's national news. I'm always seeing people protest in the street. I'm always seeing people with the hashtags. I'm seeing all the weirdos in suits like Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, Patrice Cullors stand up and say, we got a problem in this American society as it pertains to white violence and rage, but we never sit down and address our own community doing the exact same damn thing. And it's weird, it's disturbing, and it's disgusting. You could say I have internalized whatever. You could call me a bigot. You can call me a racist. You can say all this stupid shit and hope it sticks. It will never, because you like to say Black Lives Matter, but you don't want to address a black life being lost at the hands of a black person. You only step up when a white person is the perpetrator. You stand and you lie about certain instances to make it seem like that white perpetrator deserves to be in jail or lose their job, but when evidence comes out to back the white person, you sit there and you claim it's just another case of white supremacy. You got people like Joanne Reed, my least favorite black person in America, who will stand on TV and make people feel guilty for trying to figure out any information about some white woman going missing. She'll get on TV and let you know that it's another form of white rage and white supremacy, and white people are gonna now, because of Kyle Rittenhouse acting in self-defense, feel as if it's okay to just start shooting random black people because they think they'll get away with it. Yet she won't take the time to address any missing black person, anything that revolves around a black neighborhood getting shot up by a black person. They won't address a little girl like Sequoia Turner who got done in by a black person. And guess what? That wasn't national news, and that happened at a fucking BLM protest.
It appears the two men charged in the shooting death of 8-year-old Sequoia Turner will stand trial together.
The little girl was riding in the back of a car in 2020 as it passed through an area where people had blocked the road in protest of a shooting where an officer had killed a man. Someone fired shots at the girl's car, killing the 8-year-old. Julian Connolly and Jerian McKinney were both eventually arrested in connection with her death. Today, a judge denied a motion to separate their cases. Sequoia's father says the family is happy with the decision.
We just want justice, and we just want to keep the focus on Sequoia, and we just want to keep her name alive and just show that we're here for the fight.
The two men are facing 37 counts in all. Investigators say other people could one day be charged in this case as they continue to use surveillance video from that day to try and identify people.
I get that we like to live in this weird reality where we think everything is okay, everything is gonna be fine, all we gotta do is solve this one problem. But that's not true. And let's live in this reality for a moment. Let's say the only thing that we had to pay attention to at this exact moment was white people and their racism and their rage and their supremacy and how they like to always hunt down a black person. Let's say we solve that and it never happens again, but you still got black lives being lost on a daily basis. Are you then gonna say this is the new problem and we should stand up and say things about that? Because if the answer is yes, cool, but guess fucking what? You are years too late and there are too many dead bodies that you did forgot about and ignored. And if that's the game y'all want to play, don't ever say Black Lives Matter near me ever again. Because if you say that, whether if you support the organization or if you just saying the words, you are inconsistent as all hell. Because there are a lot of people who just support the words that only show two black names, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. They didn't show every other black life being lost. They didn't sit there and do any research about getting justice for anybody like Sequoia Turner. They didn't spend their time talking about Sasha Johnson. They didn't talk about David Dorn. They're not going to talk about this man, Anthony Frazier, because it's not being propped up in the media as something that needs to be addressed, because niggas killing niggas is just another day in the neighborhood. And if that's how y'all want to go about that, cool. Don't ever expect me to not say anything about it, because that's a fool's game. I'ma always have an issue with it. Why? Because there's many people that don't want to talk about it and not want to address it and want to call people who do address it coons. That just furthers my point that if you don't fit the narrative, if you don't fit the mold, if your tweet's not up to par, if your Facebook isn't black excellence, if your Twitter account isn't nothing but praising black women or black men, your life does not matter. And that's the saddest shit on planet Earth, because after being fooled into donating all this money into food for protesting, into breaking into stores and thinking robbing people is the excellence of the black community and that's gonna save the black community, after attacking black businesses and thinking that you're saving people because they have insurance, you have ultimately failed to prove that every single black life matters. It would be honorable if you admitted that you didn't care about every black life, you cared about the ones you saw on social media. It would be more respectful if you said, we're picking and choosing when we care about these black lives. But the reason you're not going to do that is because you want to push the narrative that the only thing plaguing us is a white guy. And I'm here to let you know, I'm more likely to get shot by somebody with the same skin color as opposed to some white ugly blonde. So for anybody that wants to say, Leon, you and all that racism, I hate you, I hope you fail, I'm tired of you and your YouTube videos bashing the black community and Black Lives Matter, here's my message to you and anybody else in your little weird friend group that likes to say the same thing. Guess what? The black community got a problem, and it's black people. And if you don't want to address it, congratulations. You are choosing to ignore lives being lost for the sake of your own sanity and trying to prove that you're the most righteous of nobody. Subscribe to the channel. Get the fuck out of here.